Microsoft may be planning to turn Windows into a subscription, and the evidence for it isn't coming from speculation. It's coming from inside Microsoft's own code. Researchers at German tech outlet Deskmodder found references to a subscription edition buried inside a Windows 11 Canary Channel Insider preview build. That's a preview build, the kind Microsoft uses to test features months before the public ever sees them. What they found should concern every Windows user on the planet. Because if Windows 12 ships with a subscription model, the operating system you thought you owned, the one running on your computer right now, becomes a service you rent. And here's the part Microsoft won't put in a press release. What happens when you stop paying? Based on what's being developed, your computer enters limited mode. Reduced functionality, locked out of features. The device you bought, running software you can no longer fully access because you missed a monthly charge. That isn't software, that is a digital hostage situation. If you believe your computer should work for you and not for Microsoft's quarterly earnings report, subscribe and hit the bell right now. This channel covers the stories that actually matter to real users, not the ones Microsoft wants you to hear. And today's story is one of the most critical we've tackled yet. Let's start with what Deskmodder actually found. Inside that Canary channel build, there are explicit references to a subscription edition of Windows, entirely separate from the Home and Pro tiers users know today. This isn't a misread of the code, it's a distinct product tier being actively developed. The implication is exactly what it sounds like. Microsoft is building a path toward recurring monthly revenue from the operating system itself. Not just Microsoft 365, not just OneDrive, the core OS you need to turn your computer on. That discovery set off a firestorm across the tech world. Because subscription Windows isn't just a pricing change. It fundamentally alters who owns your relationship with your own computer, and the consequences run deeper than most people realize. Here's why this matters beyond your wallet. Right now, when you buy a Windows license, you own it. You can ignore Microsoft's servers forever, and your computer keeps running for years, even decades. Under the subscription model being developed for Windows 12, that protection disappears entirely. You don't own Windows, you lease it, and Microsoft holds the keys. This isn't entirely surprising if you've been watching where Microsoft has been heading. Windows 11 has been one of the most divisive operating systems in company history. Forced Microsoft account sign-in during setup. TPM 2.0 hardware requirements that rendered millions of capable working PCs ineligible for the upgrade. Advertisement placements baked directly into the start menu. Copilot AI pushed aggressively into every corner of the interface, eating screen space and system resources whether you want it or not. Every single one of these decisions moves in the same direction, deeper dependency on Microsoft's ecosystem, with fewer and fewer ways out. Industry analysts following Microsoft's trajectory believe the subscription model would likely deploy in tiers. A baseline monthly fee for core OS access, with premium AI-powered features and enhanced cloud integration layered on top at additional cost. Reports of internal discussions at Microsoft have referenced pricing structures for different Windows 12 editions. The company hasn't confirmed anything publicly, but the code in their own preview builds already tells the story. Now let's talk about what this means in practical terms for the average user. Today, your Windows PC works whether or not you have internet. It works whether or not you're logged into a Microsoft account. It works whether or not you've interacted with Microsoft servers in months. Under the design philosophy being tested for Windows 12, continuous cloud connectivity appears to be baked into core system functions. Settings synchronization, search, and even the start menu requiring online authentication. Go offline, and the system enters limited functionality mode, restricted app launches, locked settings, degraded operation. Your computer, that you paid for, becoming partially unusable because your internet went down. That's where this road leads. If this makes you angry, that reaction is shared by millions of users, IT administrators, and privacy researchers who have been sounding the alarm for months. And PC manufacturers have been listening very carefully to all of it. The hardware landscape around Windows has already shifted dramatically in the wake of Windows 11's troubled reception. Multiple major OEMs have expanded their Linux lineups significantly, pointing to genuine customer demand for an operating system that doesn't treat users as revenue sources. Reports from manufacturers show Linux-based systems now achieving customer satisfaction scores consistently in the high 80s. Compared to Windows 11's performance in that same metric, the contrast is stark. Companies that made the early call to diversify away from full Microsoft dependency are now looking very prescient. They saw this trajectory coming before the subscription code was ever discovered, If you think users deserve operating systems that actually respect their autonomy, hit that like button right now. These signals matter, and they push this analysis to more people who need to hear it. Manufacturers like Lenovo have been making very deliberate long-term commitments that go well beyond short-term Windows 11 frustration. They're building multi-year support structures for their hardware independently of whatever Microsoft decides to do with Windows 12. That's not a reaction. That's a hedge, a calculated, strategic bet that their customers' needs extend beyond what Microsoft is willing to provide. When major hardware companies start engineering their roadmaps around Microsoft's absence, that tells you something important about where industry confidence actually sits. Privacy advocates are adding another critical layer to this story. Any subscription Windows model demands persistent authentication. Your account verified continuously against Microsoft's servers, your identity tied to your usage, your session linked to their billing infrastructure at all times. Set that against the expanded telemetry collection already present in Windows 11, usage patterns, application data, browsing behavior, and the privacy picture becomes deeply troubling. European digital rights organizations have flagged Windows 11's data collection as potentially overstepping GDPR boundaries. A subscription model with mandatory cloud authentication would intensify those concerns dramatically, and EU regulators under GDPR have shown they are absolutely willing to act. Here's the deeper strategic problem with Microsoft's direction, and it matters because it tells you exactly where this is heading. Leadership appears to be reading Windows 11's market struggles as a switching cost problem rather than a product quality problem. The internal logic, based on everything that's been reported and uncovered, goes roughly like this. Users are reluctant to leave Windows not because they love it, but because switching is inconvenient. Therefore, the solution isn't to make Windows better. It's to make leaving harder. The subscription model, mandatory cloud dependency, forced AI integration, removal of local account options, every single one of these decisions increases switching costs. They don't improve the product. They build a fence around users who are already feeling trapped inside it. Bill Gates, who built Microsoft's original empire on the premise that Windows should empower users to do more with their computers, reportedly views this strategic direction with serious concern. Sources familiar with his thinking suggest he sees the subscription and surveillance trajectory as a fundamental departure from what Windows was designed to be, a tool that amplifies what users can accomplish, not a platform that extracts value from them month after month. The Windows he created was supposed to put computing power in people's hands. What's being engineered now looks more like a cage with a monthly rental fee. But here's Microsoft's critical blind spot. Users have already demonstrated they will make the switch when pushed hard enough. Linux adoption has climbed steadily every year since Windows 11 launched. Steam survey data shows Linux gaming audiences growing year over year. Education markets have shifted significantly toward alternative platforms. The more restrictive Windows becomes, the more attractive those options look, and the more development resources flow into making them better. Microsoft is actively accelerating its own displacement. Regulatory pressure is building simultaneously on multiple fronts. EU authorities have made clear they are watching Windows 12 development closely. The FTC has signaled ongoing interest in platform monopoly issues across big tech. The window for Microsoft to course correct is narrowing with every insider build they ship. So here is where things actually stand. The subscription code exists in Microsoft's own builds. The trajectory is unmistakable. The manufacturer alternatives are ready and improving. And the pressure from users, from regulators, from the market is mounting in a way Microsoft cannot keep ignoring. Drop a comment right now. Would you pay a monthly subscription for Windows, or is this the moment you finally make the switch to Linux? That conversation matters because Microsoft is watching engagement on exactly this topic. Subscribe for more coverage that doesn't let Microsoft off the hook. We cover this story as it develops, and we don't stop until users get the answers they deserve. The Windows 12 story is still unfolding. You don't want to miss what comes next.